We need a Texas congressman, and we've got one. His name is Dan Crenshaw. He is indeed a Republican from the state of Texas. Congressman, did the Democrats take the Hispanic vote on the border for granted?
I think they have for a long time. And look, at the risk of giving Democrats really good advice, you should probably stop calling all of these people Latinx. Nobody knows what that means. It's not a real term. It's not what they call themselves. And like this, but it's an important point, because that pandering, that excessive pandering, that you need us to survive kind of communication, eventually people see through it. And then the border crisis on top of that, it was the icing on the cake. So you're seeing large swaths of people turn to Republicans in South Texas in a way that has not happened in decades.
Can you explain to me why nothing happens at the border? We've got 239,000 illegals crossing, and that was just in May, including 15 people on the terror watch list. Why does nothing ever change when you've got such a dire situation staring you in the face?
The simple answer is because Democrats don't want it to change, right? They first of all, they don't have a philosophical opposition to open borders, fundamentally. I think they can make electoral gains with more illegal immigrants in the country. I don't think they're right about that, but that's what they think. And look, they just don't care. This isn't even a money problem, a spending problem. It's a policy problem. It's an enforcement problem. And Congress needs to do its part and get some very strict changes done to especially our asylum laws, so that these aren't abused consistently. I'm working on legislation right now that does exactly that. It's things like saying you can't claim asylum unless you go to a port of entry. Or we need to put claims officers in other countries so you can make that claim there instead of coming over our border to supposedly make the claim. You need more ICE lawyers in front of immigration judges at a 5-to-1 ratio, so that does require funding. There's lots of things we can do to actually fix this problem. The Democrats do not want to fix it, so we've got to win in November and force it through in the appropriations process.
You can't make any changes unless and until you win, the Republicans retake the House and hopefully the Senate in November. You can't do a thing until that happens. Meanwhile, in the 5 months, you're probably going to have at least 500,000 more illegals in the country. Am I right?
You are right. And what we can do up until then is keep pressuring the Democrats, at least threaten them to the extent that we can, use the appropriations process to the extent that we can to force some kind of negotiation. I don't know why Democrats don't want to fix this problem. It would help them electorally in November if they would do two things, right? Make our energy cheaper, produce more, and fix the border. This really isn't that complicated. That's what the American people want.
Congressman, thanks very much for being with us this morning. Always appreciated.